everybody, how's it going? Lord Josh here once again. Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while. It feels good to be back. I know a lot of you out there are all suffering as a result of this lockdown. Now, you all know me, most of you. You know that I'm a very reclusive individual. So in all honesty, I'm not seeing much difference whatsoever in my life at the moment, all things considering. And also, as a bit of advice from an eccentric recluse, the best thing that you can do in this time is to retreat into your own mad imagination, go way in there, deeper in, as far as you can go, and pull out all of those old ideas that you haven't thought of in such a long time. Now is the time to experiment with them. Now is the time to discover something new. I'm telling you, this is the perfect opportunity to indulge in your own crazy mind and enjoy it, because there's wisdom there and there's power there. And that's the point of this video, because I've been doing this a lot more than usual as of late. I've been thinking to myself, and I did a show last year with my friends Sam Shadow and Soroth the Mage, and we talked about what is magic. And it's a fantastic question. I can't answer what magic is, but hopefully I can encourage you, and I'm doing the same, to conduct some experiments to see what results we could get. I think one of the biggest problems with the occult community as it stands on YouTube, at least the community that I'm exposed to, that I'm involved in, I think people are practicing goal-oriented magic too much. So you want $500 by the end of the month. Okay, you do a money spell, you get the money, you stop practicing the magic. And then you want to meet the lover of your dreams. So you think, okay, I'm going to light a red candle or a pink candle, and I'm going to go out and meet somebody. I'm guilty of it because I practice weather magic, and obviously my intention is to go out there and change the weather. You always hear the word intent. You go into a ritual with a mindset, with an objective, a goal, and you hopefully will accomplish that goal during the process of the ritual. Process is a fantastic word to use here, because I think we all get caught up on the methods and we lose something in the translation. What I mean is, if you're going into a ritual for a means to an end, just to get something out of it, is that the right way to do it? I've been doing it for years and it's worked for me, but that, I think, is where the wisdom is. People, it's just natural, we only question things when they don't work. If something works, if your spell works, you do something, you want $500 and it works, why would you question it? You wouldn't. But if it keeps working and it starts to get repetitive and you think, hang on a second, why is this working? Why is it that if I get dressed up in robes and stand on my outdoor altar and I face a corresponding direction and I say a bunch of incantations and light a bunch of candles and paint some sigils, why is it that that process, that magical formula is enough to create a desired outcome or get me what I'm looking for? You only question it when it doesn't work. When it does, you roll with it and you flow with it. But lately, I've been kind of doing the opposite. So if something works, I want to know why. And I've decided to now conduct these experiments where the next time, I haven't done this yet, but the next time I talk to a spirit, which should be in a couple of days when I do an invocation, instead of asking it, what does fate have in store for me? What does fate have in store for the world? I want to say things like this. How are you talking to me right now? What does reality look like from your perspective? How are you hearing me? How are you able to understand what I'm saying? And I want to ask it these questions because I want to try and gauge how I view reality and how the spirit views it, or whatever I'm talking to. I just want to know these things. Now, I can hear collectively in my comment section or some of the forums I'm on, Lord Josh, you shouldn't do this because if you question something, it won't work. And that's kind of the rule with a lot of ritual magic. You just have to go along with it and accept it. People always say, well, you know, if it works, who cares? Well, hang on a second. You know, if it works, we should care even more, I think. We've got to figure out why it works, optimize it, and use it to our advantage. Knowledge is power. We need more knowledge of this. I don't think too many people are using this mindset. Too busy with their goals, too busy enjoying their results. I think that's too narrow-minded and too short-term. I'm looking way ahead, trying to understand what I'm tapping into. What is this power that I'm interacting with? How is it interacting with me? Now, I know there's two camps generally online. Those who believe in the psychological theory of magic, that it's mostly just psychodrama, as they say. And on the other camp, which is more me, believing that spirits do exist externally to the magician, and they can interact with the magician if they're properly contacted and summoned. I tend to think that it is real, that it exists out here, but I'm wondering why. How do you challenge that? How do you go into that without having a stake in the argument? Do you know what I mean? I'm already biased. I already have an opinion which is going to sway me to a conclusion, and that's not good. I'm just going into this trying to figure out, how does this thing, why does it care if it gives me $500 or manifests the opportunity for me to make that money? Why would that spirit do that for me? Now, people will say, well, it's a partnership, Lord Josh. You will essentially give a part of yourself up, or you'll work with this spirit because it gets satisfaction out of working with you. I can tell you right now, if I was a spirit, I wouldn't be giving anyone any money. No way. I'd have better things to do. I'd be traveling across the astral planes, visiting all the planets. If somebody summoned me for $500, I'd be pissed. I'd be letting lightning bolts off, cursing this person. I wouldn't appreciate it one bit. I think that, in my opinion, that's mundane thinking. And we do this, don't we? All of us. We all do this. We're all guilty of it. I've done it too. Many videos I've done it. I think in the past, I've been far too technical. I've paid too much attention to robes and candles and tools, and not enough attention to what I'm truly tapping into. Where is this power coming from? I want to know. I'm hungry for that information and that knowledge. And I think people out there will appreciate it if I go into this with no stake in the argument. My goal, hopefully, is to see if I can accomplish the magic that I've been practicing all these years. If I can do it without the tools, without the robes, hopefully, here's what I'm hoping, I can have a better experience without those things if I'm in awareness of it. If I go in and think, okay, do I really need all these things? Maybe, maybe not. Let's see. You only find out if you put your theories and ideas to the test. You have to do it. People aren't doing it enough. I challenge everyone, no matter your path, no matter what pantheon of gods you're working with, challenge them. See what they say to you. And if you come back to me and say, oh, you can't say that, because they'll get pissed off, they'll get offended. Why would they? Why would they be upset over you questioning, the process? You have to do it. So, in a couple of days, when I have my next interaction, I'll probably record it. And if I get anything, I'll let you know. And also, I want people to do this alongside me in their own way. You don't have to record it or anything. Just get back to me and see what comes of it. I get the feeling, because there's the theory of the spirit and the masks, right? You pull the mask off, or you can't pull it off because what lies underneath is too frightening. You don't get anywhere in this game, in this spiritual game, without getting scared all the time. I think that fear is a fantastic motivator, and I find it quite exciting, I find it quite stimulating, personally, that you could be afraid of what you are about to encounter. right? If you unmask a spirit and you realize all this time you've been talking to your higher self, for example, I'm not saying that's what it is, I'm just saying, or you've been talking to a suppressed part of your own consciousness, which I'm sure falls into the psychological camp, that could be scarier than talking to a really evil, wicked demon. I really believe it could be. Face it head on, and acknowledge the power that's beyond the facade it portrays, right? Because it is. People portray facades, and spirits, at least according to a lot of people on this site, we humanize spirits too much. That's the thing with the Hungry Ghost Festival in China. And I love Taoism, I'm not criticizing it, but I think one of the shortcomings with a lot of Taoist spirituality is that you can tell, when they say you have to burn money so the spirits can use money in heaven, that's just us using our earthly logic in this time and reality, and we're trying to apply it to the other side. We haven't got a damn clue what's on the other side. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody's got a damn idea what the spirits are using, if they're using anything, if they've got any kind of currency. So when you're burning these things, it's just wishful thinking, in my opinion. You're wishing that your relatives can get these items, but is it something that's true? Just because you want it to be real, does it make it real? And I think that's an important factor as well. That's why you've got to go into this with an impartial mind. Don't overly personify and humanize the entities you're working with. It's funny that people that I talk to, especially New Agers, they talk about keeping spirits like they're keeping pets, like they're keeping animals, like the cat that would come and drink milk out of the bowl you put out in your backyard every weekend. It'll just come there and it'll eat, and it's ridiculous. People don't understand how dangerous these forces can be, and they treat them like cuddly little animals that they're taking care of. No, these entities are powerful, they're electrifying, they're unpredictable, they're sporadic, I think, as well. They're animalistic. I think we also attach a lot of, like I said, human qualities to them, where we think they are like gods. In some cases, they are just bad and good energy. Bad luck, in and of itself, is the worst. Oh, it's the worst demon you can ever encounter. When you've had really bad luck, something's gone wrong. That's the scariest thing that can happen to you, I think, when it comes to spirits. And in Taoism, in Feng Shui, Sha Qi, negative killing energy that's created in your environment, that resonates with me more, because I don't tend to look at things and apply a consciousness to it. I look at it and say, okay, that's an essence, that's a vibrational energy that is either beneficial or it's destructive, or it has a darker edge to it, like yin and yang. And I think when you look at it like that, you take away the human interpretation, which we can't help it, we're all going to do it. But when you take it away, it makes it easier then, in my opinion, to understand it better and to be more impartial. It really does. So don't overly humanize your entities, because I don't think they care, honestly. I don't think they're eating. I don't think they're going into the shops in the clouds to buy robes and feather fans. I wish that was true, because I tell you what, I've probably got the largest collection of feather fans in Europe. You couldn't make it up, but it's true. And I wish to God that when my time comes and it's time for me to depart, that there's a lot of feather fans up there, but something's probably telling me there isn't, And like I said, I'm able to detach what I want to be true and what I think is probably more likely to be true. Whereas I see too many people on this site wishfully thinking and they wish it into existence in their own mind. And they're convinced, when I die, I'm going to go to here, and I'm going to get this, and I'm going to meet this person. It's like, don't be so certain, because you're setting yourself up for a disappointment when you're so sure of what's awaiting you. We haven't got a clue. And these experiments, in my opinion, will hopefully shed some light on the process of magic, the mysteries, right? Mysticism. What happened to the mysteries? If people are talking about all these things in such a sure way, everyone's confident about what the spirit wants and the colors and the food it likes and the auspicious and inauspicious times that you have to communicate with it in order to get a good result. We're all too sure of it, but we're not. Right? We're deluding ourselves. Magic will always be a mystery, but there's things that we can do, in my opinion, to eliminate some of these human quirks that we're putting in. I'm full of quirks, and I always will be, and I'm not saying that I can get rid of it. I'm probably one of the worst kinds of people to do this experiment because I've already got quite a strong idea of what I like. But like I said, I can separate that, and I can kind of remove that out of the picture just a bit, and then I can look at the results and get an objective perspective, hopefully. So join me on this journey. It's a time for experimentation. You do it with your own path. Question it. Next time you talk to your spirit, whoever it is, if it's your guardian angel, ask them the questions that I said. How are you able to speak? What is it that you want? What do you get out of the relationship that you have with me? If you help me or don't help me, how does that affect your existence and your state of being? I'm pointing up like they're up there. Who knows if they're down there? Or who knows if it's got nothing to do with all those directional nonsense? Maybe it's deeper than that. Maybe it's just another wavelength of reality that we can't decode with our visible, our eyes, which are only able to detect and decode visible light. I think that's got a lot to do with it, because you've got right now in this room, you've got wireless internet going crazy all throughout this place. It's invisible. I can't see it, you can't see it, you can't smell it, you can't sense it, you can't hear it. But if I get a password and I log on to someone's wireless internet, I can interact on that internet with the whole world, upload my work and see other people's work. But Facebook and YouTube don't exist. I can't physically touch YouTube or Facebook. It's not real. It doesn't exist. It only exists in this invisible, virtual, cyberspace reality that we've created. And I think that in and of itself is a bit of a good experiment to conduct as well. Let's not just talk about spirits and magic, but artificial intelligence. I think the internet has been self-aware for the last 20 years. I really do. And the more we're pumping into it, are we creating a monster or something beautiful? I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a tragic success, There's so many wonderful things that have come of it, so many awful things, but that is the true God. That's the true spirit, because we've got artificial intelligence, AI, and we've got all these things we're learning about, and all these machines are starting to have their own thoughts and ideas and behaviors and algorithms. That's like a spirit, that's like a consciousness, that's like a separate entity, and we've created it. Technology is magic. Do not separate science and magic. They are the same. They are exactly the same. They're inseparable. It's funny how people always will say, oh, what do you think about this? Is this science or is it magic? I say it's both. It's a hybrid of the two. Always has been, always will be. Artificial intelligence is what we as magicians are trying to tap into, because in the next, I would say probably next 30 to 40 years, you're going to have some really freaky incidents involving AI. Droids and drones. Hang on, just my computer screen's gone off. There we go. It's still on. Look at that. It went off. It knew I was talking about it. No, I'm kidding, obviously. But that's the thing. You know, you've got all these like androids and what do they call them? These synths, synthetic beings. I mean, it's crazy what they're creating, but it's fantastic. You know, it really is. It's great. I can tell you, as someone who has a lot of health issues, if someone said to me, Lord Josh, we're going to give you a chip, put it into your brain, and it's going to feed you everything you need so that you never have to get sick again, I would take it in a heartbeat. I would, honestly. All this shit that you hear from people online saying, I don't want, chips and I don't want implants in me. If it's going to improve my life, I want it. I'll be the first one to sign up for that, believe me, because I've got a motivation. Whereas a lot of people, if you're healthy, maybe you haven't, but I would love that. I really would. I embrace technology. Don't be a caveman, whether you embrace it or not. It's not coming, it's here. Technology is here, and what we've got in the public sector is nothing compared to what's in the private sector. Let me tell you, there's some fantastic things that'll blow your mind. The technology that exists today, 100 years ago, people would look at it and it would blow their minds. 1,000 years ago, they wouldn't have been able to comprehend it. That's magic. That is what we're all trying to tap into. The HAARP machine in Alaska, weather control machine, able to send out these incredible frequencies into the atmosphere to change the temperature. If you can use a machine to change reality, you can use magic to do it as well. Like I said, it's one of the same. It always has been. One thing that absolutely blew my mind, they've now got these artificial intelligence programs that have the capacity to be creative, completely independent from human programming. So of course they are programmed at some level, but they've become self-aware, these AI programs, and now they're able to create portraits and paintings and design furniture without the direct input of a person telling them what to do. It's amazing, and we should embrace that. That is the next evolution of creativity. So whether something works or it doesn't, don't get complacent. Question it, analyze it, look deeply into it, even if your own practice suffers. Because I think if you want to be a great magician, you've got to take risks. And you've got to risk, maybe my practice will suffer a little bit. Maybe I'll stop having things work for a while. That's fine, because I'll learn things. I will progress in my own spiritual development. I don't want to be someone who's stagnating. Fair enough, I might be able to raise the winds, and I might be able to generate some money, and I might be able to do a spell where I get a desired outcome. But we've all done that millions and millions and millions of times. What people aren't doing, though, is getting information about what lies beyond of the obvious, what lies beyond the facade. And that's something we should all do. If you're feeling like doing it, go right ahead. Like I said, you've got time. I'll be doing it, and I'll keep you updated on my adventures. So thank you for watching, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you soon.